Good morning. Welcome to Mahala Monday. Trust you are absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for joining us this weekend. My name is Dougal. That is always there. She is Rhoda, everybody. Rhoda.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to Mahala Monday. And what a beautiful morning it is. I like the drizzle and, a little bit of coolness. It's quite nice. I enjoy it because my plants can get wet, Dougal.
Yeah.
But welcome, everybody.
I wore a cap. I've got no idea it was raining. Normally, I'm the first to find out anyway. But
Exactly.
and no idea. But thank you so much for watching. First thing you got to do is, of course, like this, share the show, and more importantly, hit the notification bell so you know exactly on when we've got great programs for you. But it has been a big week. It has been a big month. It has been a super big weekend as well because, as we all know, we've been celebrating Heritage Day, and that was just a day ago, 2 days ago now.
Yeah,
So 2 days ago, we all celebrated that. So over the longest time, it has been all about melktert and koeksister and koesister and all the things that of course makes us truly uniquely who we are. And that is what the topic is about today. And that is what we're going to talk about. So we invite you to be part of this because we look forward to your contributions and comments to share on this as well. The details at the bottom of your screen right now. So you just get in touch with us and this is what we're going to talk about. But Heritage Day, what did you do firstly?
I obviously, as usual, have fun. I'm sorry to say, guys, but I kind of have almost like a Heritage Day every weekend or every second weekend. Because I braai almost every second weekend, Dougal, because, it's become a braai day. So I had my family over, I had my kids over. It was beautiful. I always enjoy having my kids around. So, yeah, it was just a chill, having a lekker braai, fire going, marshmallows on the fire, Yeah, lekker.
No, that's...
And yourself?
Well, look, I worked. I had some stuff to do. But wherever I went to a couple of shops and people were donning sort of traditional wear.
Oh, okay.
That's what people were doing. So it was evident where I worked, and it was pretty evident. So I always thought that it wasn't probably a very good thing for businesses to do. And I actually want to talk about it because you couldn't find help. Because anybody could have worked in the shop. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
If you got a uniform, wear your uniform. Now, I couldn't find anybody to help because everybody looks the same.
Looks the same.
And it is fantastic. You got to look for a name badge. If your eyesight is not great, it's not wonderful. But can you imagine, and I'm sure, and I actually want to hear if this happened to you, where you've been in a shop and somebody asks you, excuse me, do you work here? No, I don't work here. So I actually want to know, and I'm sure that would have happened. But listen, Heritage Day is a big thing. And I've got a lot of opinion about it, and we look forward to your opinion as well. But let me just say right now, and I want to make this my opening statement, that I think this is the most important public holiday that we celebrate in South Africa. Yeah. And I'm challenging the likes of all public holidays. I don't know, Christmas is, New Year's, got a special day, place, a youth day, Freedom Day, all these days, Family Day, they all super important. But for me, in terms of where we want to be, where we want to go, considering our recent history, considering things that have sort of embroiled South Africa. Now I speak about everything. I speak from even xenophobic attacks to everything where we are. To me personally, I think Heritage Day is super important. But I'm going to make my case for it shortly. So, Friday. But you told me now something that it came at King Shaka Day. That's what you said.
Yes, so before the show, Douglas and myself had a bit of a chat as well. And in actual fact, this Heritage Day, the 24th, am I correct, September, was actually King Shaka Day back in the day. That was in 1996.
Up until 1996.
Up until 1996, it was King Shaka's, and apparently this is presumably the day he passed away. Okay. So it was celebrated...
1828.
There we go. Geez, Dougal is such a historian. I'm telling you, I'm very impressed with him, with his history. So it was celebrated by, by the Zulus basically, and that was the day King Shaka passed away. So, he back in the day had fought against colonization, basically taking over his land and things like that. So he played a very important role in the Zulu people's history, and this is what it actually was prior. From 1996.
So yeah, because there was a lot of, once we fell into our new dispensation, and I use the word fall very badly, but what I mean, once things started, we changed, certain holidays changed. Like, I remember the one that was commemorating mid-December, that was Gelofte Dag, that sort of change, that sort of terminology. I think we had
There was a few that was changed.
Yeah, there was a whole, I mean, it was long ago, so I can't quite remember all of them, but a lot of them has changed. And this put us just over 10 of them.
Exactly.
But this is why Heritage Day is super important. Now, I know it is obviously to celebrate the diversity, but and for years, Rhoda, this is the thing, and this is where the show becomes serious, and this is where my case is. So for years, we've and even early 90s, and we're talking pre-94 going into that. You know, they tagged us the lost generation. We heard terms like Rainbow Nation. We celebrate Ubuntu and certain things, all of this. And this is where the heritage comes in, because for us, there was unification in diversity.
Diversity.
Right?
Exactly.
That is true, because our makeup is huge. It's a real different makeup. We have so many influences within the South African tapestry. I mean, there's people of Middle Eastern descent, subcontinental descent, Far East, European. You know, we all know it. And you look at your own family, you look at yours, I look at mine. It's demakar. Let's be honest. It is demakar. It is, when it comes to Tharo Berets, it don't exist. It's a mix. And that's fine. That is fine.
That is fine.
And that's brilliant. And it is beautiful. And that's the important thing. It is beautiful. You can't change what you are.
What you are, exactly.
But you can change where you want to go. And I find that where we've gone and where we want to go, and this is my point, and it's a bit of a sore point, because we've known as, and that's why I say, in diversity lies our unification. But there is still a large section that I perceive, and this is purely my own perception, that I perceive that don't buy into where South Africa wants to go. That don't buy into the diversification. That still hangs on to the segregation, which is super important. And let me use the term African right now.
Okay.
Because with African, this is already a confused point. Now, you either agree with me and if you don't. And if you don't agree with me, I know where the boat is, take it and go. Let me tell you right now, if you African, in my mind, I'm African, you African.
Definitely.
People from the Middle East, and let's give them a name here, Chinese people. I know a lot of Chinese people that were born here. Guess what? They're African.
They're African.
They might be of Eastern descent, but they're African. The reason is they're born on this continent. If I was born in Europe, in France or wherever, that makes me European, regardless of the way I look. It might be argued that I am of African descent. And there's the Americans do this well, where they call you African American. But recently, in the latest year or two, even they go, you're not African American because we've got nothing to do. And when they come and visit, they're back in the motherland or whatever. You're not motherland, wherever you are, New York or wherever, that's your motherland.
That's where you were born.
I get the point. So if the argument is advanced for Americans to enjoy that, why can't the people on this continent not enjoy the same argument?
Exactly.
It's the same thing. I'll ask you what you want to eat. You go say, let's have Chinese food. Do you honestly think in China people go, let's have Chinese food? They say, let's have food.
Let's have food.
That doesn't make sense.
Makes sense, Duga, makes sense.
So now here's the thing. So everybody on this continent, you're definitely African.
That's it.
In case you weren't sure, now you know.
Now you know it.
It doesn't matter what your skin color is. So whether you are Indian, pink, blue, white, green, orange, yellow, that doesn't matter. You're still African. And here's the sore point. Because in South Africa, I find the term Afrikaner is only a certain segment.
A segment.
Afrikaner is the Afrikaans word for African.
African, exactly.
So if you buy into what African is, I don't know. Somebody will help me out what it is in Xhosa or Zulu.
Zulu, exactly.
I don't know what the word is, but I'm sure it's exactly the same. That is what Afrikaner is. So, and the problem is, whoever buys into the concept of where we want to go, we mustn't segregate. So we must still celebrate the diversity because there's a lot of beautiful about it. I mean, I am as much Xhosa as I am Zulu, as I am Indian, as I am white Afrikaner, as I am colored South African. I'm as much all of that.
All of our combinations.
And nobody in my country should put me somewhere in a box because I might not look like them. We've got the same ID. That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. And Duga, I'm loving that because of the fact that, you know what's happening even within our country, and there's something that really grates me. It's people are trying to create their own little dictionaries to actually take that word and classify it as, okay, in my dictionary. No, it's not about my dictionary, your dictionary. It is the reality of if you're born in Africa, you're an African. If you're born in the USA, you are basically American. So, you know what, wanting to create your own little books and things like that is still creating that segregation, is still creating the division. And that's why, I mean, like you said from the start, that Heritage Day is so important. It's more important than any other holiday. But now it makes sense to me as well, just listening to you, because this is a day where we, with our diversity, become unified as one and celebrate our way forward. And I'm loving that, because the fact that people are still trying to create these own little dictionaries, own little words that belongs to me. No, we can't do that anymore. That's our past, that's our history. If we're all saying we need to move on, we can't continue looking at our past. In order for us to move forward, we need to basically look at as one, as unified. If I go to America tomorrow and I ask where you're from, I'm basically from, I say, oh, you're from Africa. You know, so like, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying.
And it's an international thing. Because I've been around, and when I've been in some people, like, well, you're from Africa, but you don't look this way or that way.
Exactly.
It's an international thing. It is not a symptom that is unique to us.
Exactly.
However, we all arguing now of expropriation. This is the current narrative everywhere. We all anti-colonialization. We speak out against imperialism, giving our land back, owning what is ours. The first thing is we don't even own ourselves. Now, you can't own something else if you don't own yourself. You got to realize who you are. It's the same, and you know, I get really moedig about this. It is the same way we have people in this country that all they do, and you know who you are, and if you're one of them, do you know what? Get on the next boat, get on the next plane, go, don't let the door eat you on the way out. I get the same way people are anti-South African, but they do nothing to change the current situation. These are normally the people who stand with their hands in the pocket.
Yeah.
We all have family like this, we all have friends and neighbors like this, and we ourselves might be those people. They're the ones who complain the most about everything that is wrong. But these are the people who stand with their hands in the pocket. Anybody that is trying to do something, they don't complain. And this is the crux. We have this in any family dynamic. So the argument changes, because when we argue in terms of colonialization, and all of us realize how bad, even the colonizers are going, sorry man, it's a bit even the colonizers are doing that. So when that argument is there, this argument is super important. And I really feel strongly about this, because it happens a lot. South Africa wins the World Cup, then all of a sudden everybody's got a Springbok jersey, but not really. They play certain countries, then they only support that country. And it's never a case of when South Africa is playing, let's say Namibia, now you support Namibia. No, it's like anybody that plays against South Africa. This is normally the argument that is advanced by people who don't say really their blood is green. And it's fine. Your blood don't have to be green. But the point is, my blood is green. So don't offend me by disheartening my sentiment, and don't offend me by being critical and then you standing with your hands in your pocket. That is what it's about. So when it comes to heritage, and another point, sorry.
Yes.
So,
girls on the run.
You know, when it comes to, and this is something that maybe speaks uniquely to the Western Cape, and uniquely to the Western Cape only because of population dynamics. So in the last while, there's this big narrative of seceding. It's people in the Western Cape who want to secede. Like cut off from the rest of Africa, South Africa. I don't know if you've heard this. You only hear them in the elections. And there's a couple, you know who they are. What the hell?
Exactly.
Secede. Build an island in the middle of the ocean. This is called Cape of Storm. So just go 7 seas. Do it there. Go there. It's the same as, I understand we have indigenous cultures. Due to our political dynamic, we know very little to nothing. Entomologists have struggled to get us the true meat of history, culture, when it comes to Khoisan heritage and Khoisan culture.
Exactly.
Now, today, I'm a man of mixed descent. And let's be honest, so in my personal makeup, and you to an extent as well, we all are, basically. Even if if your name is Van Riebeek or whatever your name is, or your name is Dlamini, it doesn't matter. This happened, man. This happened. This happened. But it is very true in certain cultures. So if you look at people in the Cape, for instance, and let me be very specific here, there is a huge Malay influence, an Eastern influence, a European influence, and then an African influence that was denied by even the people who belong to this. All of that, and a nomadic way with the Khoisan. So our mixed up you are is how mixed up you are. But now, there's a lot where we need to buy, and this is where the mind shift, the mind shift, the trickery came, because things are structured. If you told my mother and father and my grandparents in the 80s, in the 70s, in the dark years of apartheid, even as early as the 90s, you are Khoisan descendant, they would have smacked you.
They would have smacked you.
Because it wasn't part of the struggle at the time.
Exactly.
Now, people are being asked to embrace this. This is the mind shift that we have to have.
Shift, yeah.
This is the same way why people don't support green rugby jerseys, but a darker colored rugby jersey.
Yes.
This is the mind shift that people need to change to. And this is why it is difficult. And then you have stupid things like xenophobia. Why does...
Yes.
Yes, yes.
And we're all from the same continent.
No, man. No. Do you know the conversation I have with my children? Let me share something. So I got two kids, 7 and 12. A couple of months ago, we saw something on the TV. She asked me, "Is that a white guy?" Now, firstly, I was shocked that she had no idea. But I wasn't, because they have no idea.
They were never raised that way.
They have no idea what you look like. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is your application of person, the content of character. That's what matters to the young generation.
Exactly.
Sadly, the old people...
Yeah, big changes for them. Yeah, it's been difficult for them.
Yeah, and what do on Heritage Day? You braai.
You braai.
And sometimes you don't have a choice because you don't have electricity. Hubert Paul says, heritage is what defines us and our values. Good morning. We need to join hands to preserve our heritage. And that is exactly it. We need to embrace, we need to go over. And you know what? We have things like Ubuntu, which is a beautiful thing. It is fantastic, it is amazing, it is not unique in the sense of, because it embodies kindness, it embodies warmth, generosity. Together we're stronger. This is what it embodies. Exactly. So it is not a unique thing, but it is a really cool word. Even if you stutter, you can say it with confidence. Ubuntu. Ubuntu. So it is absolutely fantastic, and it is really getting together with that sort of different perspectives, diversities to get forward. I don't know if people agree with me, but you know, this is a day where you gotta. I think the day, Heritage Day, has also gone very commercial.
It has, Dougal, it has.
But that's a sign of the times, isn't it?
It
is not a mistake. It is not bad.
It's not bad.
But it's a sign of the times.
It's a sign of the times. And I think maybe in our own little way, I mean, there, Danelle is hi there, Danelle. I just wanted to put on her one quickly. We should celebrate our diversity rather than fighting about it. Learn from one another instead of taking from one another.
And I
think that's hitting the nail on the head. Exactly
that is the
what
thing.
I'm trying
Thanks,
to
Danelle.
say. Thank you, Danelle. Is the fact that I looked up the word of heritage. It's basically inheritance, and we've inherited where our country is right now, and we need to celebrate our diversity of the fact that we are all one people, we all one, and exactly what she's saying there, we need to celebrate each other, you know, and just learn from each other, and this becomes our heritage, our diversity, our Heritage Day, and not your Heritage Day and yours, and their Heritage Day. You know, people always think about them and us and they, and no, it's all of us as one nation, and, you know, celebrating us, about our diversity, of how we are, soos hulle sê in Afrikaans, 'n mengelmoes, né? Yeah. A mixture of cultures, diversity.
It's a mix, man.
It's a mix, because I mean, we actually laughed about it earlier. Imagine basically I had parents. My mother was, I'm just saying, you know, isiXhosa, my father was Zulu. Which one do I celebrate? But I celebrate the diversity of both.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Rhoda, on that point, just to, and I'm gonna, you know what, I want to say this because it is really that. But before I get to that, so there's a lot of different things celebrated. To what you said now, the government, South African government, the people we vote for every few years, says Heritage Day gives us a chance to appreciate the immense cultural wealth of our nation. South Africans are encouraged to celebrate the day by honoring the heritage of the many cultures that make up our nation. That does happen. I saw people of different descents embracing, wearing other outfits, eating other food. I saw all of that. Beautiful. Well done.
Yeah.
And it's the same as we do in our personal lives. I've got friends of the Islam faith. When it's a religious holiday, I celebrate with them, but I'm not celebrating Islamic faith.
Exactly.
It is the same. I have friends of other faiths and beliefs. When it's Christmas or Easter, they celebrate with me.
They celebrate
only because I'm important to them and they are important to me. That is the definition.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to heritage, here's a question. So let's look at the colonialists. Let's look at the big sinners. England. Okay, let's look at the big sinners. Dominated the world for many years. Fantastic. Well done on achieving that.
Yeah.
Do you know what is the national food dish of England?
Oh, wow.
I'll tell you. Tikka masala.
What?
Curry.
No ways.
Yes. All these
No
English...
way.
Yes. Voted a few years ago.
Oh,
Tikka
wow.
masala. Now, and obviously it's a thing
didn't
of...
know that.
Yeah. No, I know this.
Well done.
So, obviously, you know, India, British colony or whatever, gave India back, and they took the diamond, the Kohinoor, but went back. Went back, and obviously a lot of Indian people there, you know, huge population as well. And obviously when it voted tikka masala, it is the most popular dish in England. This is when we speak of, and this is why I phrased it this way. You look at the original sinners. England. England. I mean, what's a cucumber sandwich or whatever it would have been, right?
I always think, I kind of think cottage pie.
Or something like
I don't
that.
know why
Fish and
that came
chips.
up.
You know, these would be the, you know, the immediate guesses. Tikka masala. You wouldn't guess this, and you can go Google it, go look it up, go do whatever. This is how the world has changed. This is the melting pot we're talking about.
Wow,
this is the influence we're talking about. This is where it is going. You gotta embrace the heritage that is not yours, because it will make you appreciate your own one.
Wow.
And I want to say this again. If it is not your culture, if it is not your way of doing things, understand the other one more, because you will appreciate what you have. Tugo Peterson.
Well done, Dougal. I'm very pleased.
Yeah.
You are on fire.
Yes, Hubert. Nelson Mandela said, I reached 26% varied culture heritage as a profound power to help build the nation. To build our country, the only true disability is the inability to accept 20%. Yeah, respect the differences. And that is it. That is the challenge. That is the challenge that we have. So, whether it's Cook Sisters, Umkumboti you have, and there's a difference, Cook Sister and Cook Sister. Explain that quickly.
Sister.
Let's talk proper here. Yeah.
As waar.
Okay, so Cook Sister and Cook Sister.
Okay, so my understanding, so you got the, I mean, I used to come from the southern suburbs, living in the southern suburbs, and I moved to the northern suburbs. I love Cook Sisters. Cook Sisters. That's how you can pronounce it. And then you got Cook Sisters.
Cook Sister.
So coming to the northern suburbs living, I was like looking, I mean, we're talking about a few years back, and I'm not going to give my age away, looking for a Cook Sister. Cook Sister, am I saying it right?
Cook Sister.
And I found, and I said, I'm looking for a Cook Sister, and they gave me a Cook Sister. Now, this is a dough type of thing with a lot of syrup on it.
It's syrup and coconut. Let's look.
There's no coconut on this one.
I mean, Cook Sister coconut.
There we go.
With a bit of aniseed.
That's a spicy one. Yeah. I love that one.
Cook Sister, the syrupy, they normally twist it.
It looks like a plate.
I love those. Ooh, I love those.
You see now, So, for me, I kind of have half of it, but I can't have the whole thing. So, that's a difference, Dougal. So, you know what, when and can I tell you, talking about changes, diversity, that I cannot tell you in the northern suburbs, back in the day, I couldn't find curry spices. It was like impossible to find real curry spices. We're not talking about jeera or, not jeera, what you call us, a little Raja packets. We're not talking about those, and there's a little, because all I could find here in these shops was turmeric packets, which was for them curry, for me in the northern suburbs. I can now find spices in the northern suburbs. I can now find sisters. You know, which back in the day, this is for me is exactly the change that's happening.
Yeah, because the influence is there.
The influences, we're mixing now, we're moving across the borders. So back in the day, they used to call it the boergordijn. That don't exist no more. It's fallen away, it's fallen down, it's flat on the ground.
Culture is living, breathing. It will be very different in 2 years from now than it is at this very
most
point.
Definitely, I can tell you.
It is living, it is breathing, it's got its own pace. influences from families that have joined us from across our borders that are here, that have sort of manifested, are productive contributors to the country in so many ways. There's restaurants popping up. Why won't those traditional foods not be on your table within tomorrow, the next week, and be part of your Christmas dinner? Why wouldn't it be? This is the difference what we're talking about. People are too stringent. They don't move with the times. And this is the arguments that's happening within the generations. I'm arguing with my... I'll give you a classic example. I can't go anywhere with my children because their immediate thing is their internet. No, and
this is Wi-Fi.
This is their thing. So when we drive in the car's like a hotspot. If I drive past you, just log on.
Exactly.
So that's what happens. Now, it was similar, and I look at how our parents now, the grandparents look at our children, because that's the difference.
Exactly.
I remember when I was a child, my grandparents looked at my parents in that way. There's the difference. Because my dad didn't have, and mother didn't have maybe the toys or amenities that I had, right?
Exactly.
So my grandfather would have said to my dad, you're spoiling it, I'm sure. Or no, this is not how they must operate. But in the time, it was different. I mean, we went to school. I'm sure my grandparents weren't forced to go to school. This is the difference. So it's a very different thing. So my parents had to come up with ways with what they knew to make us fit in, which was very different to my grandparents' generation.
Totally different.
Now it has shifted. So, but it's the same backbone because they only teach you what they were taught.
Exactly.
Now it's the same thing. So now in our situation, I'm teaching the backbone we have that we got from our parents. We're teaching that, but it's a very different environment.
It's a totally different environment.
It's a very different environment. So now, when I was 10, I could go to the shop with a 10 rand and buy half a lamb or whatever the hell you could buy for 10 rand and come back with the whole thing and still have change and buy potatoes. You could do all of these things. My children will get lost to the shop, even if it's across the road. It's a different because you don't do that now.
You don't do that.
You Uber.
Yeah.
And while they're in the Uber, they on the phone or something, they're not looking around. They don't know idea. It's a different thing, but we've adapted to that. How many phone numbers did you know out of your head in 1990?
Oh, my word.
Do you know your own number even now? That's the problem.
That's the problem.
And this is how things have changed. It's a living, breathing organism that constantly changes, and heritage is really important. The big thing about this is you cannot, there's a very nice saying, when yourself in laag vat, so don't discredit yourself. Be super proud of what you have. The more you believe and the more pride and dedication you have to what you are, others that are not you see the beauty within. We cannot cherish other cultures because it's from a foreign land and go, oh, look at them, they kwai. They look at us and they go, wow.
Exactly.
But we don't go wow ourselves.
We don't tap ourselves on the shoulder.
I've said a lot.
You've said a lot.
Yeah, I've absolutely said a lot.
I'm very impressed with you this morning, Togo.
I'm impressed with me too.
I'm always impressed with you.
It's my heritage, Rhoda.
So, I mean, we're nearly at the end of the show. So, before we end off, it is the last week of September. And I just wanted to highlight as well, Doogie, it's about the fact that it was Disability Month as well.
Oh, okay.
So, so we just want to highlight it as well. And did you know there are 72 million deaf people around the world? Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. So, you know what? We just wanted a heads up because on top of that, there's actually about 300 apparently different sign languages as well. So, respect. I mean, I just think of just our...
Yeah, our friend Jabbar pointed that out.
Exactly. And I mean, if you think of it, just having to chat to Jabbar, you know, Jabbar was our change in our lives where Jabbar made us aware of the fact that, you know what, you actually need to be aware of the fact that the person needs to see your mouth, they need to see you. And, you know, you're talking and you're not realizing that you're actually calling Jabbar, you're talking and you're forgetting that he actually can't hear you because you need to either tap him or show him, you know. So, respect, you know, you don't understand it unless you're involved or you see somebody that's actually got a disability, and we have learned that with Jabbar. So we became very conscious of getting a mouth.
Yeah, and I remember at the time it was clear masks and all of that, so you could see your lips, and it was something that you had to, you know, you have to be conscious of. But this is, once again, it is something that the more we see it, the more we talk about it, the better it becomes. And when it comes to heritage, it is a very private thing. It is also usually a community thing. Because the heritage you will appreciate as a community, and you celebrate it together as a community and with large numbers. But when it comes to your heritage, it is an understanding of who you are, where you come from, but more importantly, where you go into. I firmly believe that things will move, things will develop, cultures change, traditions change. Things change, but where we're going to is super important. And also, let's not forget Taryn. Taryn as well. Taryn Tomlinson as well, also one of our friends that regular features.
She's been parachuting in a wheelchair.
Climb Kilimanjaro in a wheelchair.
Exactly. I mean, geez, come on, people. Celebrate.
And this is the diversity. This is the kind of makeup, and use that as an example. The stuff that people do, which is just absolutely amazing. But in terms of heritage, it is not a day just about pannenkoek, cook sisters, milk tart, braai, shishanyama. It is a lot more. As much as all those differences brings us together, and everybody likes to have a happy time, it is also where we want to go. And if you have suggestions and contributions to make this just a wonderful place, do it. If you just want to criticize and not contribute, then don't make suggestions to people who do.
Exactly.
But do come up with an idea so we can keep the lights on.
True. Keep the lights on.
You know what I mean? Is that it, Rhoda?
I think that's it, Dougal. That's it. I'm quite happy.
Thank you so much for watching today. Of course, like and share this. That is the most important thing. And of course, next week we're in a brand new month. And we've got more fantastic shows for you. Looking forward to all the wonderful topics we're going to be addressing with our special guests in the month of October. And then it is November. But as you know, of course, Archbishop Desmond Tutu passed away not that long ago. And in October, of course, he celebrated his birthday. So we're going to be touching base with the Tygerberg Hospital Children's Trust as well, just to see how things are going and how things are going. And of course, celebrate the legacy of definitely one of the most impressive global icons ever. And talk about heritage, there's an example for you as well.
Good example.
So that is what is still coming up with the next couple of days and weeks. But also, you got to like and share this.
Yes, and don't forget, subscribe and hit that bell.
That's what you got to do. I think Hubert had a point there as well, which is hard things are put in your way, not to stop us, but to call out our courage and strength. Aha! Isn't that true?
True.
I have another point about heritage.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. There's Hubert's thing. And there's a little picture of Hubert. I think something is stopping him because he's sort of bleeding. In a picture, I saw that. But but so we're all good.
You said you had something to say?
No, that's all right. I think I said it already.
Have you said it all?
I forget what I said.
Okay. We can always recap again next week. And I think that's a wrap, everybody.
Yeah, but now listen, you both now have cook sisters. Do you still have some?
We can go have some coffee now, Dougal, and we can go see.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Look after yourselves and everybody around you, and we'll be back with you next week, Monday, on Mahala Monday. We certainly hope you had a wonderful heritage, and it was just a fabulous time for you as well. So thanks from our side. Keep cool. Watch after yourself. Until next time, cheers.